Hello everyone, welcome back to Spurs from the Stands. I'm Sarah, of course, and we've got a bit of a show today, don't we? Because there's been lots of news floating around, and of course we've got a massive 6-pointer game happening on Sunday. Welcome in, guys. How's the week going? Hope you've had a lovely week. If you're on the drive home from work today, if you're just waking up, getting ready for bed, wherever you are in the world, welcome in. Yes, getting my cuppa before we start. Actually, I had my cuppa before and I'm not in my Spurs shirt because I just got in. I just got in from a little walk in the park today. So how are we all feeling ahead of this weekend? It's been a big week for us here at Spurs. And of course, this is going to be one of the last weeks where we have 3 games in 1 week. So things are going to die down now for the rest of the season. But I've got a bit of news updates to share with everyone before we dive into this weekend's lineup and the predictions and all of that stuff. So to kick us off for today, I wanted to just share, first of all, look, I know that this news has been circulating quite a lot and a lot of people would have heard it by now. But of course, we heard that, unfortunately, Danny Kelly's been diagnosed with cancer, so our well wishes are with him. And of course, as I shared with some of you previously, I used to work at TalkSport in a previous life over a decade ago now, well over a decade ago. And I was one of those people who was working as an insight analyst for them. And I was one of those people who was putting all his face and statistics onto presentation. So heartfelt wishes go out to him, and welcome in everyone. So our heartfelt wishes go out to him, and we wish him a speedy recovery and that everything goes well for him. There are some other updates that we're going to dive into. So the first of which is our players and their injury updates. So I thought this was a good time to mention, obviously I've got the QR code up there, but I don't know if you guys can see it, but there has been news in the past hour or so, maybe it's a couple of hours now, that Vicario unfortunately is going to undergo surgery for a hernia next week, I believe. So this is a minor procedure and it's hopefully going to have as minimal impact as possible. I don't know whether I'm guessing that he hasn't been listed in the Italy squad, which we're also going to touch on today. But as well, we wish him all the very best as well. And look, we know that there's been some injuries, and maybe this has been why he hasn't had free movement of his body. Maybe this could be one of the reasons why he hasn't been performing at his peak. You know, we've all said that he's experienced a bit of a drop off, and maybe he doesn't have full movement of his body. So look, this has just come out now, so we'll wait to hear more details on that. But potentially behind the scenes, they might have known that this was something that was going to happen because, of course, we know that Kinski started the first leg of the Atletico Madrid game. So even since then, it might have been known that Vicario was experiencing some discomfort, should we say. So Igor Tudor made the right prediction in saying that there will be an opportunity for Kinski to come back into the squad at some point in the season. So we may end up seeing Kinski start this weekend. So we're going to dive into some more of that. But we wish, heard some of you say, heard Vicario is having an op next week. Yeah, of course. Just another bit while we're on the injury stuff as well. It was also reported that Solanke had a bit of a hip problem and Paulinho is going to be back in the squad for this weekend. So we wish Vicario all the very best. We hope the operation goes well and, of course, for a speedy recovery for him as well. In other news, Igor Tudor. Igor Tudor getting all fired up in the background and getting all involved in all the controversy of all the press and the referees and the fines and everything else. But of course, he's been charged for his claims that the referee was the home referee or playing as a home referee in the Fulham game. So that was, of course, a couple of weeks ago now. Crazy how time flies, I know. But yeah, we don't know the details of that fine. But look, he got the yellow card last game, and I think he got a yellow card in was it the Liverpool game? I think he got a yellow card in the Liverpool game as well. So he's skating on thin ice himself, because I don't know how it works in the Premier League. If he gets another yellow card in this game, if that means he's suspended for the game after that. So Igor Tudor, be on your best behaviour from here on out. He's learning very quickly in the Premier League. You can't speak your full mind and you can't speak your full truth without someone picking you up and giving you a fine for it. So look, he's coming out, he's being vocal. I'm glad that he's so passionate about the situation, you know, because he clearly, look, this all stems from the passion that he has to keep us staying up. So it's unfortunate for him, but he's learning the hard way that in Premier League, you can't just say what you want, even though it might have some truth to it. So, oh, Igor Tudor. Some of you asking me about the stay up march on Sunday. We're going to talk more about that in a little bit. It might even be next, actually. I'm not sure. So is the surgery after Sunday for Vicario? I believe what it said from the statement that was put out from the club, I believe it's going to be on Monday. I believe that the operation for Vicario is going to be on Monday, but I could be wrong about that. That was just speculation, obviously, what we've been told. So whether that means that he can still play on Sunday, I don't know, but I would imagine he doesn't have full movement, and he's maybe in a little bit of discomfort as well. So, yeah, we'll have to see how that plays out. Yeah, shout out to you all in the chat. Welcome in. Cool. So the England squad has been named, and just a little bit on this, because of course we have two players in our squad who've been named in the England squad, and they are Solanke and Spence. So Solanke may get his shot. Let's just hope that he's fully recovered by the summer. I mean, let's hope that he's fully recovered by this weekend, to be completely honest. But if he's experiencing some difficulties, because one thing was his ankle, and then it became his his hip, and there's other things. So look, sometimes in life, when you go through these periods, you kind of have this knock-on effect. So I hope that Solanke is fully fit, but it does look like those two are named in our England squad. And the other names, which I've noticed as well, so also the Young Lions also announced their squads as well. So in the under-20s, Callum Ulasesi, who is currently 19, he has been named in the under-20s. Our very own Mikey Moore, who is 18, he has been named in the under-19 squad. And we have one player, Malachi Hardy, who is a centre-back, who is 18 as well, but he has been named in the under-18 squad. There is also the under-17 squad, but from what I could see, there aren't any of our players in the under-17 squad. So that might just show you kind of like the player development that we have. It's so crazy, because to think Mikey Moore is only 18, crazy that he was playing in the Europa League last year, and he's been playing all season as a starter in the Scottish League. So kind of crazy, Mikey Moore's development, considering he is only 18, you know, and people are pushing for him to come back to Spurs and get back in the squad. But in reality, next year, he's only going to be 18, 19. So he's still a very, very young player, and he probably does need another season out on loan to build up his physicality, to build up his strength, his fitness, and all of that stuff. So look, it's promising. You know, we haven't had an England Spurs player in the England squad for the past couple of seasons. Yes, Solanke made some appearances in the run up to the World Cup, but since Harry Kane left, we haven't really had any players who have been shining lights. Of course, we have a lot of international players, but less so in the English squad. So it's good to see that we have some progress happening with some of our youngsters in the academy as well. And I would say that also on top of that, of course, when you're looking at the under 15s and the under 17s, maybe there's some work to do there to develop the players so that they are, you know, making appearances in the England Young Lions squads as well, because that's going to also help their development. It's going to give them confidence. So I'm not too familiar with under the 17 bracket, because I sort of follow the academy, but not so much any younger than that. So it's good to hear that we have some players coming through the ranks as well. I can see some of your chats. Mikey who? Mikey Moore. Who did I say? Who did I say? Who did I say? Did I say something else? If I said something else, slip of the tongue, because I meant Mikey Moore, who is who is in the under 19s, should I say? So, yeah. What are you guys saying in the chat? What are you guys saying in the chat? Okay, I'll turn to the chat in a little bit. So, in terms of, I think this is coming up next. Oh yeah, there was one more update. One more update that I saw. Dublin Airport have been tweeting Spurs. Of course they have. Dublin Airport. They issued an apology to Spurs fans for using an unintentional lift in reference to going down. So I don't know if anyone received it, but there was a video going around on WhatsApp. Well, I saw it on WhatsApp. I think it probably came from TikTok, where someone got in a lift and they pressed the button and the lift said going down. And they were like, oh, we didn't know that Tottenham was, the lift was Tottenham supporter or something stupid like that. Anyway, it turns out the Dublin Airport decided to jump piggyback on the back of that because they know how big we are as a fan base. And they decided to make their mark as well on Twitter as well. So they've come out and apologized to Spurs, probably in a plug to get more publicity for them. But I think that was quite funny that they're also jumping on the bandwagon in terms of lifts and going down and all of that stuff. But hold on, because hopefully that's not going to happen. And we are going to stay up this season. So no more lift jokes, regardless where they come from. Now, I want to give an update on our Save Our Spurs campaign. So as some of you know that have been around this community for the past, well, at least the past week or so, you'll know that a week ago, I set up a Save Our Spurs campaign, which is an email activation campaign. If you haven't signed it yet, the link is in the description, the bottom of the description of this live. And so far, we've had almost 300 emails been sent in a week. So we have had, I think, 296 emails that have been sent. And there is reason why I'm telling you this, because I'm going to put the pieces together for you about what's transpired and going to come this weekend in terms of supporting the team. So I don't want to give myself too much credit here because it's not just about the emails that we sent. Because as some of you know, in a couple of lives that I did, I was talking about monkeys and like the ripple effect and how we can all have impacts. And sometimes it's not just about the initial step that you take, but the impact that that then has going forward, right? So we started off last week where I came on here very passionately talking about, you know, being united as a fan base, uniting our voice, supporting the team and differentiating between the board and the issue of ENIC versus the club. Now, of course, you guys know that have been around here. And if you're new to this, welcome. Hi, like, subscribe, share, comment, and all of that stuff. But as you guys know, a few days or a day after that, I received so much backlash. I received emails, messages. I received very positive stuff as well, of course. But of course, Change for Tottenham reached out to me and they had a few things to say about my campaign, which I shared with you. And it transpired that maybe some of that had some traction, because we Change for Tottenham went from their whole ENIC out campaign and walking out at 75 minutes and whatever their campaign was, because I'm not so familiar with it, to be completely honest. But of course, the news transpired just 4 days after I started my campaign. They decided to do their own Save Our Tottenham. So I didn't copyright Save Our Spurs, of course, but it seemed to have caught on because they decided to do a Save Our Tottenham. So whether there's a link or not, I don't know, but you don't know who is watching, right? You don't know who's watching. And clearly your voices, all of your voices were heard, because this might have come from Change from Tottenham. I would assume it did, because they don't really have any collaboration per se with the club. But they decided to do a U-turn on their protest. And they decided to do a collaborative approach, chaos theory in effect. Exactly. How many times has been I changed his email address? I don't know. I've heard it's 3 times, but yeah, 300 emails. Most of those came in the first 48 hours. So it's natural when you start a campaign that you start to see drop-offs. And as I said to you guys, I wasn't going to plug it every day because it's annoying for you guys, but it's not so exciting for me, but you have to keep these things going. So yeah, do send the email if you are new around here, because we can't forget the situation. As much as we're on a high, sometimes you have to also look at the bigger picture of things that are going on. However, they decided to instead do a greet at the team coach this weekend. So you can see where I'm going with this, guys. So they decided to do a meet and greet with the coach this weekend. And look, you can see here, I don't know if anyone's going to the game this weekend. If any of you in the chat who's going this weekend, let me know whether you're planning to go to this, I don't know what they call it, show up, sing up, stay up. I think that they've missed play up because the players need to perform, right? We can sing our hearts out. It doesn't matter if the players don't show up on the day and don't get the 3 points, or at least get a draw out of this game. So they are meeting by the team coach, and then they're going to have a little parade, a little walk. I heard somewhere they were saying that they were expecting like 15 to 20,000 people. I don't know if they're going to get that. That sounds like a lot of people. So I don't know where they get these projections from. Someone asked in the chat just now, am I going? I don't think I am going, because I'm going with some different people to the game this weekend. So I think our arrangements are slightly different to what they normally would be. And people have children, young kids and things like that. So I don't think it's going to be possible for us, but we'll try our best. And if I can capture anything, I most certainly will. Am I lagging? I don't know if I'm lagging. Anyway, this also following on from this, because THFC Flags jumped on the bandwagon. So this is now just over, it's a week today. So a week after we sent that campaign out, a week after we started rallying the club and sending out all those emails, THFC Flags, for those of you that have not seen this yet, and I'm sure a lot of you have already seen this coming out on the grapevine, but they tweeted and they put on Instagram this post yesterday, I believe it was. And, they said Tottenham Hotspur means everything to us. It always has. Generations of us, families, friends, strangers, brought together by the same badge, the same community, the same pride, with one job: to support our team. Time for reflection comes later. Right now, we're in the run-in with big games ahead. So to our team, our players, our coaching staff, our team behind the team, our club, we're not going anywhere. We are with you. Funny. I just find this so funny just after the email that we started sending, that everyone suddenly is on board. But I love it. I'm here for it, because this is what we wanted, right? This is totally what we wanted, for everyone to get behind the team. From the atmosphere in the stands, the belief in the streets. Oh, I need to plug in my laptop. The belief in the streets to the raw the players walk out into. For every remaining minute of this season, we are right behind you. We'll be there for every step, and we'll be your 12th man throughout. You will hear us. To every single player wearing our shirt, we walk out with you and we remain behind you, whatever may come. We can't control what happens on the pitch, but we'll provide everything you need off it. We believe in you. This is our club, as together, always. So I love this message. Now, I have a theory, me and my crazy theories, but I have a theory that this was a plant from the club. I need to just plug in my laptop, but I have a theory that this was a seeded piece from the club, and I'll explain to you. One second. Yes, but I'm convinced that this was a seeded piece of news from the club, and I'll explain why. So, of course, and I'm going to ask you guys a question, because pretty much I'm such a geek, guys. Honestly, I don't know what's happened to me, but I have become such a nerd, because I wrote down every single player that liked and that retweeted this post. So you guys tell me in the chat, right? I have identified 3 players who are signed to the club. So Mwani was someone who didn't, but Mwani's on loan. So I'm excluding him from this. I want you guys to guess which 3 players who are fit did not engage with this post? Tell me in the comments. Which 3 players do you guys think did not engage with this post? They didn't like it. They didn't share it. They didn't do anything with it. Tell me what you think while I just carry on. So sometimes what happens is, look, this is speculation. But sometimes what happens is, maybe the club work with THFC Flags. We know they have a good relationship. And sometimes they might have said, look, put this post out with this kind of sentiment, with this kind of message. They then send it to the players' WhatsApp chats and the players' agents or the players' management. And they're like, guys, can you please interact with this and share it with your audiences to show that we're all united? That is kind of how I imagine that this situation went down in the background. So most players have engaged. Some of you have said Van de Ven. No, Van de Ven retweeted it. Van de Ven, in fact, Van de Ven retweeted it. He didn't like it, but he retweeted it. Definitely Romero. So yes, Romero was one of them. Some of you said Mickey. No, Mickey did retweet it. Spence and Cootie. So yes, Spence and Cootie are 2 of the players. No, Gallagher retweeted it. Porro retweeted and he liked it. What a geek am I? Honestly, what a geek am I? Went through every single player. Vicario retweeted it. Vicario retweeted it. Vicario retweeted it. So I think you've had an effect on the other events happening on Sunday. Do you know what? I think we have it's not me, guys. It's not me. As I said, I'm the facilitator, but I am of the belief that we did have a ripple effect. We definitely had a ripple effect. We've been making noise. And when I say we, I mean you guys, like the whole community. We've been having impact. We've been making waves. People are watching, people are listening, whether that's the club, whether that's other channels, people have been listening. So I'm just checking. Am I blurry? I hope I'm not blurry. Just going to close some tabs. Okay, it's not too bad. So we're missing 1 player. Which one player left do we think didn't engage with this? We've identified. No, Kinski. So Kinski, what's my list? Kinski liked and retweeted it. So in total, there were 14 players that liked it and 16 players that retweeted it. So, or reposted on Instagram. 16 players reposted, 14 liked it. So that gives you an idea, right? That type of thing doesn't just happen organically. That is a push from the club for them to say, look, the fans are getting behind you. You show them love as well. So that's how I think that this went down. And obviously I'm just speculating. So I'll tell you, so Udogi liked it. Pap liked it, Pap Sar. Roswell. So we had some youngsters like it as well. Roswell liked it. Austin liked it as well. So the third keeper, he liked it. Solanke, Madders, Kinski, Tell, Porro, Danso, Xavi, Zhao, Paulinia, Archie Gray, Bergval, they all liked it. And look, Kulusevski, Bentoncourt and Kudus did not engage at all with it. I don't know, maybe they're kind of out the dressing room at the moment. So maybe they, for some reason, didn't engage with it. So there were some injured players that didn't engage with it. Having said that, obviously Maddison was like one of the first people to retweet it. Interestingly, I've also identified that Danso was the first guy to retweet it. Danso was the first to retweet it, followed by Solanke, Tell and Dragusin and João Paulinia. So they were the ones who like very early on got engaged with the post. And then following that, then it came Kinski, Van de Ven, Gray, Vicario, Bergval retweeted it. And yeah, Porro, and then Ben Davis jumped on the bandwagon a bit later with Xavi as well. They were kind of like the last two to engage with it. So the player, can you guys tell yet? Bissouma, someone said Bissouma. No, Bissouma retweeted it. Bissouma retweeted it. Can you guys tell from the names that I've just said who didn't? It's a very important player for us. And I'm surprised no one's got it yet because I just gave you guys the rundown. So yeah, The other player was Richarlison. So Richarlison did not like or retweet it. From what I could see, I might be wrong, but I did not see Richarlison retweet it. And from what I could see, he also didn't like the post. So look, it might not have been intentional, but they've all been on social media in the last 24 hours. And look, these days, it's hard not to like something. You have to, these days, you have to actually actively not like something, right? So look, if anyone's watching now, please do like, subscribe, comment, share, and all of that stuff. But, you know, when you're told go ahead and like something or go ahead and engage with something, and everyone, you know, 20 people have done it, or in this case, you know, 30 people, or 30 likes and retweets combined, 20 people in total. Our squad is 24 people, 24 players. So for 4 players not to do it, it's kind of like a tough ask not to engage with it. I'm not surprised by Kuti. I'm not surprised by Spence. Maybe Richie had some PR stuff or something like going on, but it was a bit weird that he didn't engage with it. So yeah, no, they all did, but Dragusin, yeah. Danso first one. Yeah, fair play to Danso because he did it. So don't tell us it's Lucas. No, they all engaged with it. They all retweeted it. Yeah. Solanke, Madders, Kinski, Tell, Porro, Danso, Xavi, Mickey, João Paulinho, Gallagher, Gray, Vicario, Basuma, Bergval, Dragusin, and Ben Davis all retweeted it. Or reposted. I keep saying retweeting. I meant reposted. And then Udogi, Papsar, Roswell, Austin, Solanke, Madders, Kinski, Tell, Porro, Danso, Xavi, João Paulinho, Gray, and Bergval all liked it as well. So look, that's been making the circuit. It's been making the circuit. So I think, look, out of everything, I think it's more revealing about who didn't engage with it than who actually did. Do you know what I mean? Like, as I said, it's oh, there you go. Okay. Well, hopefully I'm doing you a service so you can stay off. Hopefully you can, I'm doing you a service so you can stay off, and I'm doing a good job at the roundups because there's so much news that gets posted. But yeah, not worried about Richie. He's headstrong. Yeah, I believe Richie is a fan of the club as well, but it is peculiar why he didn't. Yeah, from the West Stand. Hey, El Tel Cockrell. But yeah, it is a bit strange about Richarlison because he normally is very engaged unless something's going on in the back room. Look, we know that he was suspended in the game midweek, so maybe he, I don't know, hasn't been around the squad or something like that. I don't know. But look, it's harder not to repost it than it is to press the button and repost it or to like it. You know, you have to actually say to yourself, I don't want to share that. You know what I mean? Because these days there's just so, and especially if it comes from the club, but it would be very crazy if this wasn't initiated by the club, if I'm completely honest. And if that is the case and it was initiated by the club, I would say in some capacity that they heard our emails. What do you guys think? Because we sent emails not just to the board, we also, the email address that was CC'd, and you'll see that if you click on the link below, was also to like the Tottenham Hotspur customer service desk. So the customer service desk would have got 300 emails from concerned supporters. So you never know. They might have fed back to the club. The PR department, they might have said, look, we've had 300 emails in 48 hours. You know, can we do something? And then Change for Tottenham did their change, and it's had this knock-on effect. That's all I can hope for. Look, I don't know if that is the case, but I can speculate, and I'd love to think that we as a community were able to have impact and influence. And look, let's hope that it translates onto the pitch this weekend. So yeah, let's hope that he does so this weekend. So guys, that's a roundup on the news for this weekend. Is anyone going to the game this weekend? Has anyone bought tickets? I saw some people in the chat or in the last video that I did saying that people had now bought tickets to the game. Oh yeah, there was one other thing. This is completely unrelated to Tottenham, but we all love Son. We all love Son, of course we do. And South Korea are playing the Ivory Coast Saturday, the 28th of March, which is next Saturday. So just a point of reference, if anyone's interested and would want to go and see South Korea or want to see Sonny play, Sonny will be playing in that game, which is going to be played at the MK Dons in Milton Keynes. That is where the game is being hosted. Tickets are going for 25 quid. So if anyone's interested and wants to go and see Son, just to say, if like the Irish gent here, that you're not on social media and you want to go and watch Sonny and you're in the UK, there are loads of tickets available for that game. Unfortunately, I'm got a hen do, which I've been planning for months. So unfortunately, I can't make it. But I would love to go and just go and see Sonny. And I'm actually gutted. I'm gutted that I'm organising this hen and I can't go and see him play, because I would love to go and see Sonny play one more time. And I don't think I'm going to make it over to LA. So yeah, just to say that if anyone's interested in going to watch Son for 25 quid this weekend. Yeah, there you go. That game might be worth the trip. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I mean, who's England playing again? Who is it? Who is England playing? We're playing Japan, and was it Ecuador? I can't remember. It's definitely Japan. So yeah, so that'd be interesting to see. And obviously, if anyone wants to go see Harry Kane, then you've got to watch England. Oh my gosh, can we talk about how amazing Harry Kane's second goal was? Oh my gosh, who saw that second goal that he did in the Champions League? What a worldie that was. We miss him so much. Honestly, I only watch Bayern. I only watch Bayern because of Harry Kane. And I really hope that they win the Champions League just for Kane. And I just hope that he wins the Ballon d'Or, even though he's not a Spurs player anymore. Like, I just want to see both Son and Kane go on to bigger and better things. Like, it's crazy. But that was a mad goal, that second goal. Unbelievable talent. Like, he's just thriving. He's going from strength to strength, even though he's getting older. We just miss him so much. Like, it's just, it can't be underestimated how much. And I think people can see that, you know, how much impact that Kane really had in our squad. Anyway, we're playing Uruguay. Sorry, I got that wrong, guys. It's Uruguay. I said Ecuador. I think it's South American. Yeah. I don't know where that's going to be played, though. But yeah, I'm not too sure what the tickets are. That's me for you. I'm like, oh, I love Son, so I'm going to look up where Son's playing, but I don't even bother looking up England. I might just support Korea in the World Cup, you know. Yeah, we're playing Uruguay on the Friday, which is being played at Wembley Stadium. England are playing at Wembley Stadium. So if you want to go and see Kane, maybe there's some tickets left for that. And then the game against Japan is on the 31st of March. So that is also going to be at Wembley Stadium. So if anyone fancies that. Cool. Right, guys. Our attention is going to turn to this weekend, of course, the big game, the 6-pointer game against Nottingham Forest. Who is excited for this one? Look, we were all on a massive high midweek, despite the fact that we got booted out of the Champions League. We were like, wow, this team's amazing. We haven't seen us play like this in so long, all season. And I've been having a little bit of a reflection over the last 48 hours or so of that game, because the Dortmund game, which was in the Champions League, I remember that game being at home, and in the first 5 minutes, Thomas Frank being so surprised. His face was like shocked at how the team came out, because we have had a very different personality split in terms of the players when it came to the Champions League games this season. And so my biggest concern with going into this weekend, look, I don't want to bring us down, but I think it's important, look, me of all people, the positive one, me of all people, keeping us grounded here, because as much as we are on a high, we can't lose sight of how realistically we have been playing in the Premier League this season. And I know we've had a bit of an upturn over the last 2 games. The question is now, can we sustain it going into the rest of the season? 8 games left to play for, 24 points in total. And if we can pick up, you know, even just win 2-3 of those games, I think we're going to be safe, if I'm completely honest. Even though Danny Dyer thinks that we're going to go down and West Ham are going to stay up. What a load of rubbish that is, because if anything, I actually think Forest go down. But that's a whole other conversation. But it's more about whether we can sustain this performance into this game. So tell me, guys, how are you feeling? Are you feeling optimistic? Are you feeling like, you know, the players have found their feet again? Did you like the style of play that we had in the last game? Do you like that 3 at the back formation? Because we've kind of switched it up, and I think Tudor is still trying to find what is the best formation. And I think for us, it's starting to click now. That 3 at the back with the 4. I think because he's getting players back in this game, of course, Mickey van der Ven and Romero will be back playing together in the Premier League, which we haven't seen for at least, I think it's about 3 weeks now since we've had them both playing together in a game on the same pitch at the same time without one of them doing a rash challenge and getting sent off or getting injured. I mean, Kuti was obviously suspended and then he got concussion, and then Mickey was suspended for the last game. So I think that Igor Tudor has sort of found out now. He knows a lot more about the players. The players know a lot more about him. He did say in the press conference that he still hasn't introduced a style of play because it's still about finding our feet and doing the best that we can with what we've got. And first of all, you know, getting the mindset, and then, or like putting in the physicality, you know, getting the physicality up. I think that we had the legs much more in the Champions League game, even though Atletico Madrid outplayed us. So I think the biggest concern that we have is, of course, letting in too many goals. We have let in goals like you would not believe. We just give goals away for free. We have not had a clean sheet in the Premier League for so long. I think that the last clean sheet that we had, I think, was Brentford on New Year's Day. I'm pretty sure that was the last clean sheet that we had. I'm just going to fact check that, but I'm pretty sure the last clean sheet that we had in the Premier League, the last clean sheet that we had in the Premier League was January the 1st against Brentford away. So, and then the game before that, Crystal Palace away. We have not had a clean sheet since the 1st of January, and we are now the 20th of March. We are March and we have not won a game in the Premier League this year. The only team in the Prem to have managed to have got that achievement. And it's not something to be proud of. So I think the players are going to be looking to turn that around for their own reputation and their own sanity at this point, because, you know, they need the confidence to kick on for the rest of the season now. So I really hope that that is going to be the case, that we can, it's all going to depend on whether this Vicario situation is quite serious and whether he's not going to be able to play, because I guess they made the announcement before the weekend with the anticipation that Kinski would get a lot of backlash. Now, if Kinski's in the lineup, people have more awareness around the fact that Vicario is injured, even though he's not having his operation till Monday. So I think the jury's out on who's going to be the keeper. I would imagine it's going to be Kinski. And look, considering he reposted the campaign, Tottenham together as always, considering he reposted that, I would think that he's going to be quite involved in the game this weekend. So we can only hope that we can please just not concede goals. Like, that would be my one ask from this game. Like, even if we draw 0-0, I mean, I definitely don't think it will be 0-0. I think it's going to be more like a 2-1 or something like that. But I would like to think that we can hold out Forest. Now, Tudor was asked in the press conference, did he think that it was an advantage to us that Forest played on Thursday night? But he made the point that Forest were able to rotate their squad. And even though they played 120 minutes, they actually didn't play anyone of their first team that has been starting in the Premier League in the after 60 minutes. So essentially they took off all their first team players that will play this weekend in after the 60-minute mark. So they will be fully rested for this game, which arguably for our players is going to be even worse because, of course, we played Wednesday, but all of our players played on Wednesday. So there's a bit of a question mark around their fitness and whether they're going to be able to play the 2 games back to back. We know we don't have a good track record when it comes to the game before the international break. We lost all of those on the bounce until we broke that curse. I think it was back in November. I think we broke that curse. We won the game before the international break then. I think it was November. Yeah, back end of November, I'm pretty sure. I think it was back end of November. We won a game before the international break, but we haven't managed to do it this season or last season, by the way. We haven't managed to have a run where we got a draw, a win, or even a draw, a win, and a draw. We have not had that scenario, so we are desperate. No, we're not. We're not desperate. We're not desperate. We are a bit desperate, but we're not desperate. We're desperate to get points this weekend. I need to flick the light on. No, we're not. We're not desperate. Oh my gosh, I've turned into Frank. We're desperate to get points. No, look. Realistically, we need the points from this weekend, right? We need the points from this weekend. Well, that's better than the lights. Yeah, can't go into the break on a negative note. Completely agree. How are you all feeling ahead of this weekend? I think Igor Tudor's found his formation now. I think he's found the formation that he kind of likes. He's obviously got his regulars. I would love to see Gray start this game, but I don't know whether he's going to have legs, considering he's basically played every single game for us and he's played the full 90 minutes. So he's played the full 90 pretty much because we've had lacking. I'm not sure what the update was on Bissouma. I don't think he was asked about Bissouma in the press conference unless they save that for the embargoed section. But we don't know whether Bissouma is going to be fit for this game or not. Gallagher obviously did make an appearance on Wednesday night, but he didn't play more than half an hour. So I also don't know what's up with him and his asthma situation and whether any virus that he had affected his breathing or his capabilities to, make those long pressing runs down the pitch. So I think Paulinho is back in the squad, but I think Gallagher and Bissouma are doubts from what I understand for this weekend. I'm going to go through a bit of comments before I show you guys my predicted lineup. So while I do that, let me know your lineups in the comments. I hope anyone but Spurs get relegated. I hope so too, Choppy. I hope so too. Oh, sorry, Neil. You said Richie. Sorry. Yeah, flowers to you. Flowers to you. You did say Richie. I must have missed those comments. But yeah, those three. That game might be worth the trip this weekend. The Spurs bird. Yes, Spurs bird. I don't know. The cockerel. I don't know. Maybe the cockerels are coming home to roost. Why are they playing at MK Dons? That was about the Korea game. I have no idea. Do you know how there are so many seats for that game? So many seats. I'm actually surprised that the Korean fans haven't brought them all up yet, to be honest. But I don't know why. Maybe because there's another game being played at Wembley. Not sure if someone's playing at Wembley this weekend. Tottenham are lucky to have you as a fan. They're lucky to have all of us as fans. Look, you guys all played your part sending the email. Campaign's still live because I paid for 1 month. I actually don't know how to stop the payments. So going to be on direct debit, like sending emails to the club. I was going to go to the protest, but not into the stadium, thinking now if I should go to cheer on the team before the game. I don't know, Dominic. It's entirely up to you. I mean, I guess if we won the game, you'd feel part of it and you'd say, yeah, we managed to help the team stay up, wouldn't you? But then again, if you went and we lost the game, then you'd be like, well, that doesn't work and we're never doing that again. That is the problem. That will be the problem. If we do not win the game, everyone will be like, oh, what a waste of time. We're never meeting the players. They betrayed us. We showed up for them and they didn't show up for us. So I think the players have a responsibility to themselves to win this game, because the fans are completely behind them now. So they have no excuse. It has to mean something. The game last week has to mean something. That draw against Liverpool, it can't all be in vain, And Tudor's, he's still got a point to prove. I know we're all saying give him the job and everything like that, but he's still got a point to prove. He's not home and dry just yet, just because we had one good performance, I hope Bayern Munich wins the Champions League. I'm with you. Arsenal, Bayern final. I don't even want Arsenal to get to the final, by the way, but they're definitely going to be Sporting, let's be honest. So bit of a shame, but I don't know. There's the cup final. Oh, yeah, there's the cup final this weekend at Wembley, isn't there? Arsenal playing. Arsenal City, isn't it? Arsenal City this weekend. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of traffic this weekend. There's going to be a lot of traffic to those people going to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium because I think the kickoff for the cup this weekend. I think it's at 4:30. I think that's right. Yeah, 4:30 this weekend. So pretty much the traffic will be like after the Spurs game, getting back, I'd imagine. Newcastle v Sunderland. Not sure what that was in reference to. Liar, Danny Dyer. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if that was like Capital Radio or something like that. I don't know. Like, his son-in-law is bowing, you know. So yeah, a lot of Spurs fans watch Bayern in LA. Yeah, except LA. I don't know where you are, Jorgen, but for, is it Jorgen? George? Sorry if I've pronounced that wrong. But yeah, I got notifications last night at like 3 a.m. that Sonny was in the match teams in the squad, and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to stay up till 5 a.m. to watch it. So maybe it's a blessing if you're not in the UK because you can watch him. If we can't be positive after beating Atletico Madrid, then we're in trouble. Well, we're already in trouble. Let's be honest. We've got to be realistic about the situation. I know everyone's like very excited, and look, I'm one of those people who's behind the team, but I'm also realistic about the situation. Being positive doesn't mean being uncritical. We've had a really tough run this year. You know, we're in April next, just over a week away. We're in April and we still haven't won a game. Like it's crazy. I've never seen our team go on a run like this. No one's seen us go on a run like this. Let's be honest. Would like to see the same team and set up again, providing that anyone isn't too tired. Well, Richard, I'll share with you my lineup as well. Yeah, give me your lineups if you're just jumping in. I'm very optimistic. As I said, if they play like they did against Atletico in the next 8 games, we can win them all, end up on 54 points to stick into the Conference League. Andy, I had the same thought as you. Do you know what? I had the same thought as this because I had a little look. I was like, we're on 30 points, another 24 points, 54 points. Where would that take us? And it probably would take us about mid-table, but it's not going to happen because every team still has to play each other. And so the likelihood is, 54 points at the moment is what United are on in 3rd. So it's a crazy tight table, but there's no way that we win 8 games on the bounce. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I say that, but just imagine if we do the flip reverse of Ange 2.0. Ange came in, 10 games on the bounce, won. Imagine if Igor Tudor now goes on an 8-game bounce. We've done it before. This team of players, they've done it before. I say team, I mean squad. My dad pulled me up on that. He was like, you say team and squad interchangeably. I know what they mean, but sometimes my brain doesn't function. But yeah, this squad of players went on that 10-game run, pretty much all of them. So there's no reason why they can go on it. Every game we've got from now until the end of the season is winnable, bar Chelsea. Chelsea away at Stamford Bridge. That for us is like a haunting ground. Like it's very, I don't even know the last time we won at Stamford Bridge. I don't even know if we've won at Stamford Bridge. So I would say, I don't think we can win all 8 games, but I think it's possible that we get something. We've got some very winnable games on paper, for starting with Forest, but then you've got Sunderland, Brighton, Wolves, Villa, Leeds, and Everton. So all of those realistically are winnable. Everyone except for Villa are in the bottom half of the table. Everton currently sit 8th. So it's a long season and there's a lot still to play for. I'd love to say that we sneak into Europe, but let's focus on the relegation battle and getting over this weekend before we get ahead of ourselves, Andy. Spurs should win, however, scrape 1-0. This is the biggest game in our Premier League history. If we don't win this, we are in deep doo-doo. Yeah, I agree. The guys were talking, my mates this weekend, they were like, who's going to watch the cup final? And I was like, nope. I was like, I'm going to watch the relegation cup final this weekend. Oh dear. I've lost the chat. Does anyone in the chat or comments thinks Igor Tudor has made a difference? Question to you all. Does anyone think he's made a difference? For me personally, I think he has. I think we underestimate the impact of the confidence that was affecting the players. And we also know there's an injury crisis, But people are so quick to judge that because they're like, well, every team's got an injury crisis. But the Premier League is just such an intense league that a game can be won in the last 10 minutes, as we saw against Liverpool. We saw that against Liverpool. We had the legs, we had the fitness to score in the 90th minute. I don't know when the last time was that we scored in the 90th minute. Something that we really need to fix, though, is when we come out in the second half, because that was like the second or third game in a row that we managed to concede in the 47th minute. Really, we need to fix up on that, because against Atletico, we conceded in the 47th minute. In the first leg, we conceded in the 55th minute. Palace, we conceded 3, but they were all just before half time. I don't know whether it's to do with like the phase of play or to do with like the legs that the players have going in at the first half or coming out in the second half. But yeah, Arsenal scored against us in the 47th minute. We've got to stop conceding goals just before we go into half time, or just after we come out of half time, because it's really costing us. Yeah, City scored against us 44th minute, just before we went into half time. Mbeumo scored in the 38th minute. We've had loads of games this season where we just drop our heads just before they go in for the halftime break, and they need to cut that out. And that is a mindset thing, because they're defending well, and then they just drop their heads last 5 minutes before the halftime break, and the opponents get a goal. So we need to stop doing that, because it's costing us. 2-0, we'll be tight. We'll go up 1 and Forest will chase the game, and we'll catch them on the break late for a second. Van de Ven and Richarlison goals. Interesting. It's teams near the relegation zone. Spurs should win, particularly at home. Some people are saying 2-1, 2-2. Okay. I'll come back to the comments. Some of you have given your lineup, so I'll share with you the lineup that I've done two. Done two lineups. The first line, so I've stuck with the 3-4-2-1 formation. Call this 3-4-2-1, call it 3-4-3, something along those lines, because he seems to interchange. Now, of course, I've put Solanke into this lineup. We know that he's had a hip problem and he didn't train today. Igor Tudor said that he might train tomorrow. Interesting that they're training tomorrow. I didn't know that they train sort of 3 days in a row before a game. I thought that they have 1 day off, but maybe he's pressing them to train a lot harder so that they are fitter. And in reality, a training session might only be like an hour or an hour and a half. So maybe that's why. I don't know. But I've gone with this 3-4-3 because you guys can see I've put in the back line. So I put Kinski in goal. I've got 2 lineups, by the way. I've got 2 lineups. You can tell I'm decisive, can't you? Because I'm like, oh yeah, I've got 1 lineup and then another one. But the good thing is that he's got players back so he can choose. So I've put Kinski in goal on the basis that we know that Vicario is now going for an operation on Monday. I have put Van de Ven, Romero and Danso in our back line. Of course, Danso played midweek and he rested. Sorry, Dragusin played midweek. He brought Danso on late in the game. We conceded. I think we conceded when Danso was on the pitch. You can see 75th minute. I'm pretty sure. Oh, no, we conceded before Danso came on the pitch. So we conceded in the 75th minute. So Danso helped us see the game out, even though we lost it, but we won the game. But Danso came on and he helped see the game out. So I think this back three, someone asked in the comments of a previous video, who plays in the middle. So I think that Romero plays in the middle. I don't necessarily think that Danso is a natural right. He probably is more central, but given if you're playing a 3 at the back, I think he's the one who has to play on the right-hand side. You've got to have Romero manning that front line and leading from the back, especially if Kinski's in goal. So I think Romero goes in the middle. And look, we've seen that formation before when we played, was it Fulham? Was it Burnley? Was it Fulham or Burnley? No, I think the last game we had the back 3 like that was, the last time we had the back 3 like that was in Burnley. And in that game, both Mickey van der Ven and Romero scored. So if that gives you any hope or optimism, maybe that's it. but then we drew 2-2 to Burnley. So scoring goals, but also conceding them. In the midfield, I've put Pedro Porro on the right-hand side as our right wing back. I actually quite like him as a right wing back. I think he probably does need a bit of rotation, and he might even need a rest in this game. He's obviously been captain for us in the last 3 games. The other option is that you put Spence on the right-hand side and you have Sousa come in on the left-hand side. Sousa, unfortunately for him, he's had to come off in games because of the red card and things like that, unfortunately for him. He also, obviously, look, he's a young kid. He's preferred not to start. But if the players need some rotation, then I think you put Spence on the right-hand side and Sousa on the left-hand side. And really, unless you're going to play a back 4, realistically, that's kind of what you've got to go with. I don't know if Spence is necessarily better on the right, but I'm just looking at it from the sense that Porro has literally played every minute for us. And I don't know, hopefully he's getting back to full fitness, because of course he was out for a little bit and he was arguably our fittest player under Ange. Porro was the guy who did not have any injuries, pretty much the only person in the whole squad who didn't have any injuries, and was playing every single minute of every single game in both Europa League and the Premier League last year. So he has been named as captain, or maybe unofficial vice captain, by Igor Tudor. So they probably need his leadership skills in the squad, and he offers more, of course, than having Spence and Sousa. So let me know what you guys think about having Porro on the right and Spence on the left, given that they both played midweek and last weekend as well. And then in the midfield, you've got Archie Gray and Paulinho. Now, I've put Paulinho in here, and I think Sarr could come on as an impact sub. Now, I think the way that Sarr and Gray have been playing over the last 2 games has been really promising. They, of course, both played in the Liverpool game, and they both played in the Atletico Madrid game. So maybe you could even argue that Archie Gray needs a rest, but I think he just offers us so much. And because he's really coming into his own, and because he is stepping up his game, I think we need to keep him in midfield. The other option to this is that you play Bergvall, but Bergvall came on last game. Oh yeah, I forgot Udogie's fit, isn't he? Wait, maybe I put him into my last lineup. Oh, I forgot Udogie was fit. Anyway, maybe you put Udogie. Let me know in the comments. So actually, yeah, I'm thinking now, maybe you play Spence on the right and you play Udogie on the left. Since I've just had that brainwave. I'm like, oh, actually, Udogie's fit, isn't he? But he did. Udogie and Bergvall looked very rusty when they came on in the last 15 minutes or so. I think last 20 minutes or so they played at the Atletico Madrid game. So hopefully they've got a little bit of work into their legs. Maybe Paulinho doesn't start and he's also on the bench, in which case if Sarr is match fit and he's ready to go, I think you just keep it the same. I think you just put Sarr there. I think you put Sarr and Gray in the midfield. Now, the question is about our front line is going to be whether Solanke is fully fit. I, of course, have put him here because he's my preferred striker in this situation. But there is every likelihood that Kolo Muani starts this game with Richie. The question also then becomes is whether you play Tel or whether you play Xavi. Because Xavi in the Premier League has not been the same player as he has been in the Champions League. Xavi has played much better this season in the Champions League. Igor Tudor did give him his flowers in the press conference and acknowledged that both Tel and Xavi have been performing really, really well. So, yeah, Udogie, exactly. Udogie. I was a bit, when he came on, you could see he wasn't fully match fit. I don't think either Udogie or Bergvall can play a full 90 minutes in this game. What I would hope to see is that whoever he starts after 60 minutes, they come on and get a full 90 minutes. And Igor Tudor, fair play to him, he's not afraid. He is not afraid of pulling players if they are not performing well. We saw it in the Champions League. He pulled Kinski. We also saw it in the which game was it? Moani, he took off after like 45 minutes as well. We've also had situations where red cards have been given and he's needed to take off Sousa early. Igor Tudor is not afraid to make changes if it's not working. And I like that. I think you need the best squad and the players' legs on the pitch as best as possible. And if that means rotating the squad because we played Wednesday, then fair. He needs to do it. He needs to do it, even if it's not our A team. So that is one formation. The second one that I've put here is Vicario in goal, although I don't think he realistically starts. I've put the back line the same. I've put Sousa on the left, but of course, as I just said, I forgot that Udogie's back. So you can forget that because you play Udogie over Sousa. I'm not sure if Udogie was actually listed in the Italy squad. I'm not sure. I'll have to check and see which of our players were listed. Maybe I'll do a bit of roundup news next week when it's a little bit quieter on the Spurs front and talk about how our players are doing in the internationals. But I think maybe Udogie probably plays on the left. Now, in this lineup, I've put Paulinho and Bergvall. But as I was just saying to you guys, I'm not really sure if either Paulinho or Bergvall are fully match fit and ready to go. And I would rather start Gray and then bring Bergvall on at 60 minutes because Gray probably could do with the rest as well. I would imagine Gray has been listed in the under 21. Hang on. Archie Gray wasn't listed in any of the England squad, was he? Archie Gray wasn't listed in the under 21s. Oh no, because it's the under 20s. It's the under 20s, and Archie Gray's just turned 20, so then he can't be named in the under 20 squad. And then he's also not named. Yeah, okay. So Archie Gray won't be playing in any international, I don't think, unless I've got that wrong. Has anyone seen anything different? I'm just checking that. Yeah, I don't think Archie Gray's been listed. No. I would imagine it's because he's in that age bracket now where he can't play for the under 20s. I thought he was under 21, but it's under 20, so I don't know. I'm not sure. Unless I've missed something. Think you'd be sacked if you drop Gray. Thankfully, I'm not in Igor Tudor's shoes. Thankfully. Yeah, I'm just looking. Archie Gray is not in the under 20s because he's not under 20, obviously. And he's obviously not listed in the first team either. So it looks like he's not going to be in any squad, Archie Gray. Unfortunately for him. But maybe next year he gets into the under. That was under 21. I don't know. Is that a thing? Is that a thing? I'm just checking now. Oh, no, he is. My bad, guys. He is. Archie Gray is in the under 21s. I missed that post. But yes, Archie Gray is in the under 21s. I need to make note of these so I can keep track of them. But yes, Archie Gray is in the under 21s. And I'm just checking there's no one else from our squad that's in the under 21s. So that would make 7 players that are named in some kind of England squad from the 18s to the first team. Yeah, 6 players, including Solanke and Spence. That's not bad. It's pretty good. He's playing alongside Bellingham, Joe Bellingham and Skelly, I think, is in that squad as well. Anyway, cool. So going forward to the front line. In this one, I've obviously put Kolo Muani next to Xavi Simons and Richarlison. So the option obviously being whether you're going to play Tell, whether he's going to choose Xavi, whether he's going to rotate the squad enough, and whether he's going to keep Gray in it. I heard someone said, I hope Gray isn't in the squads. Well, he is. He is in the under 21s. So the post I was looking at was the Young Lions, which showed the under 20s, 19, 18, under 17s. I think under 16s as well. Maybe it was under 15s. They did a separate post for the under 21s, and then obviously the first team was obviously Solanke and Spence. So yes, Gray will be playing. Yeah, someone is obviously okay. Someone's confirmed. Thank you very much, Ben. Thank you, Ben. Forest might knock Xavi back to square one. I don't know. I think he's building up. I don't know whether he starts. I just think Xavi would be better to have on during the second half. Yeah, I'm also, that's kind of why I put Tell in the starting lineup. Both Tell and Spence at the end of that Atletico Madrid game, they were still running like as if they were just fresh off the bench. That run that Spence did at the end to get back to stop them scoring another goal and making that sliding challenge. Fantastic level of fitness in the 90th minute of the game. That was brilliant. But I think, yeah, for the Premier League, I think the thing about Tell is like so unpredictable. Do you guys know what I mean? Like he's a bit of a chaotic player. Like he's not very he's still learning his game, I think, with Tell. I think he's still learning his game. And because he's so chaotic and he doesn't really know what he's doing, I think the opponent don't really know what to expect either. So look, he played very well alongside Mawani. So I would be tempted to keep him next to Mawani if Solanke isn't fit, although I think we are a stronger team all round with Solanke in it. And I would even say that Solanke does a lot of defensive work for us. He is definitely a workhorse. He's a dominant, he's a presence in our box, but also defensively as well. So for like things like the opponent's corners, and quick little stat for you, we're second in the league for the number of set pieces that we've scored this year. And also Forest are the bottom of the table, if you like, for number of set pieces conceded. So Forest are the team that have conceded the most set pieces this season, and we are the second team in the league to have scored the most set pieces. So I would imagine we're probably, if we're going to score, it might be very well from a set piece. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. But I think we're going to see a lot more of an attacking performance that we have done in the past, or the last few games at least anyway. So what are you guys saying? Do you think that this is the lineup that we're potentially going to go with? Do you think that we'd play two up top? Do you think we go back to the 4-4-2 formation? Because he did kind of do that in the Liverpool game as well. And that most certainly is an option to do a 4-4-2 formation. I don't know if it really necessarily suits us. Now we're getting more attackers back. Maybe you could do a back four of Udogie, Van de Ven, Romero and Porro. That could work. The biggest problem that I have with the 4-4-2 is it works really well if you've got Solanke and Richie up top, but it doesn't suit really the wingers that we've got, like Tell, for example, and it doesn't really suit Xavi. They are definitely less effective when they play in a 4-4-2. So I think it's a bit of a situation where when you do the 3-4-2-1, it suits some players, and when you do the 4-4-2, it suits other players. So maybe there's potential for him to change it if at some point during the game we're not winning and he wants us to go for the win. Potentially. Yeah, exactly. Unpredictability is a good thing. And I think that particularly with more players coming back from injury, it is going to be a question mark about who has he seen in training, who has he seen stepped up. You know, they played Wednesday night, the players have been training every single day. And what's it going to be like? Oh, Brandon, Forest fan in the chat. As a Forest fan, I think 3-2 Forest. Interesting. Forest for the win. I don't know. I think it's going to be a tight game. It is going to be a tight game. I think at the moment we are a bit unpredictable. So teams will come to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium thinking that we will just roll over like we have done for the entire season. What I see now, which maybe as fans of football who are not inside Spurs, you might be looking at Spurs going, oh, they've lost 6 games on the bounce. They drew against Liverpool, but Liverpool were doing really bad. Atletico Madrid didn't want to win that game, so they threw it away, and therefore the next game is going to be really easy to win. However, I think with the momentum that is brewing amongst the dressing room, but also amongst the fan base, I think we're actually going to be a very different side. I think we're going to be playing like a team rather than 11 individuals on the pitch, which we have been doing for most of this season. We've literally been playing, every player's been playing their own game. They're all running after the balls. There's no cohesiveness. So I think that one thing that's going to be really important for us is everyone playing together in the same system, backing each other, covering each other. That's going to be really, really important in this game. And I think if they can nail that, then I don't think that we concede 3 goals. Having said that, if Kinski's in goal, I don't know. But I think if Kinski starts, he will get a lot of love. He will get a lot of love from the fans, and he will also have a point to prove. Kinski has a point to prove in this game, and he will be fighting tooth and nail to keep it a clean sheet for his sake, for his pride. Because Kinski in this game, if he starts, he will be playing for himself. He'll be playing for the team, but he's got a lot of making up to do for that performance that he had in the first leg. So, yeah. Will Forest sack their manager if they lose Saturday? That's a great question. I've seen a lot of news around that one. And look, Brandon, maybe this is fate written in the stars that you guys took Ange for 4 games and he lost you those games. Was it 4 games? I think he lost 4 games when he was managing Forest. So this could be some kind of like weird, I don't know, one of those weird things in sport where Ange played at Forest, lost 4 games, and those points eventually is what make up the difference at the end of the day. But who knows? That record is mostly inheritance of Thomas Frank's system, second best from set pieces. Well, we kept our set piece coach. Interestingly, guys, I don't think the assistant coach that Igor Tudor was bringing in, I don't think he's arrived yet. I don't think the assistant coach, there's been no announcement that the assistant coach, there's been no photo of Igor Tudor with his assistant coach at Tottenham. And we all heard the news that he didn't had a work permit yet and he was struggling to get a work permit and all of this jargon. Look, if a set piece coach, or I don't know, an assistant coach is coming from Europe and is European, he probably shouldn't have a problem with getting a work permit. It's very bizarre that we have gone, how many weeks has he been here now? 3 weeks? 2-3 weeks? So it would be bizarre if he didn't join. And I think that is an indicator that the club are still deciding whether they keep him or not, depending on this weekend's results. Speculation, of course, but I just think it's weird that they haven't brought in, the assistant coach yet. So I would imagine he's just coaching. Unless I've missed something, and someone here who's been following the news can tell me that the assistant coach is actually there yet, but I haven't seen any news about it. Telling Kudus on the wings would be exciting next season. I hope Kudus is back this season. I think Kudus is supposed to be back after the international break. He plays for Ghana, doesn't he? Kudus. I wonder if he's been named in the Ghanaian squad. I think it's Ghana, isn't it? I don't know if he's been named in the squad. But anyway, he might still be injured. Squad list. No, Kudus is not listed. No, Kudus is not listed in the international squad. So I would imagine if he is going to be back fit, it would be after the international break. You can leave now. Sure. Wait, who's that? I can't see. Walk out at 75 minutes. I don't know. I think the midfield is where the game is won. I would agree. And I think our midfield is much stronger now than it has been for most of this season because we've been playing very defensive style football. I think for a lot of teams that still have yet to play us, I think we are going to be a different team because I think Tudor, what he's doing is he's like instilling this different mentality in the players to give them that fighting chance, to like give them that fighting mindset. Forest will look to get a goal and then defend for their lives. Yeah, probably. But as long as you get corners and you get set pieces, that's how you win a game. And we know that we're good at set pieces. And with both Romero and Van de Ven on the pitch, there's no reason. They've both scored header goals this season. They have both scored goals from headers. Richie scored headers. He had a couple of chances against Atletico Madrid, but unfortunately couldn't get those headers on target. So if he can get them on target, that'd be great. I'm assuming Solanke's fully fit. I'm assuming he was. Forest fans feeling happy this one is in our patch. Hopefully they're not expecting us to be up for it like Liverpool. You know what, Wolf Mauler? I was thinking about this after because a lot of people were saying after that game that Liverpool didn't play very well. And I was thinking about it. I was thinking about it a lot because teams have seen us this season as this really easy team to beat. And I almost think that Liverpool came out in that game and were like, this is going to be a really easy game to win. And I think they were surprised at that we still had the fight after 90 minutes because we haven't had that physicality all season. And I think there might have been a bit of that like psychology in the background of the players and their mindset of like, Spurs really easy to beat. You can relax a little bit more. It's going to be an easier game. Obviously, I'm speculating, but it kind of makes sense with like the narratives that have been going around in terms of, everyone coming to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and us rolling over for them. So I agree. I think it wouldn't be surprising if Forest come into this going, oh, we can beat. I think they earlier this season, didn't they beat us earlier this season? Yeah, they beat us 3-0 in December. Oh my gosh, Forest beat us 3-0 in December. That's right. It was like the week before Christmas, wasn't it? We lost 3-0 to Forest. What is wrong with us? Sorry, Brandon. And funny enough, Archie Gray got taken off. He got a 4.8. He was terrible. Crazy. And Kudus played in that game. So whoever it was in the chat just now that said, can't wait for Kudus to come back. Kudus played against Forest and we still lost 3-0. So just shows you it's not just necessarily one player. It's about getting the system right. Yeah, we played Graham Bentancur in that game. Terrible game. 3-0. God. Well, we can't do that again. We cannot do that again. We can't afford it. I need to find the chat, guys, where you guys said about the lineups. Oh, someone's saying Vicario will play. You think he'll play even though he's a bit injured? Maybe. Want to see Danso back in the team. Richie up top. Yeah. Forest are going to look at winding up Richie, so he needs to stay cool. I think Romero is probably the guy's probably going to get more round up. I'm just reading the comments, guys. Hate to be a negative Nancy, but I'm thinking a 2-2 is on the cards. Yeah, look. Irish Gent, this is a realistic prediction, to be completely honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if we drew it. For some reason, sometimes you just get a feeling about a game. Like you just get, I can't describe it, but you just get a feeling like momentum is behind you. And maybe the players really did have a good hard look in the mirror. And maybe they have picked themselves up and Tudor has helped them. What was really interesting, actually, in terms of like leadership, because we've been talking about this leadership vacuum in the press conference. Tudor said about Xavi, he said, oh, you got the best out of Xavi. Like he was, what was it they said? They said something like, he played much better and he was fighting more. And that was you because you instilled that in him. And he said, I didn't do anything. He did that. he did that. And that's what I was telling you guys in a live that I did a couple of weeks. I don't know which live it was. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago now. But I was talking about the difference between a coach and a manager. And a good manager will lead from behind, and they will empower the players to play their best. And so it's not the manager going, you do this and the stick. It's more about, getting the player to recognize their strengths and play to their best ability. And that is what a good manager does. That is exactly what a good manager does. And so, look, even if it was a 2-2, I think it's very revealing about, his mindset and how he coaches the players. For me, I think it tells us a lot about his style of coaching. And I think the players respond well to that because they are a dressing room of big egos, right? We know they are for some reason. They will all want to play for a winning team now. Well, we might be a winning team. We can be a winning team. If you win a game, you're a winning team. Turn it around. It's up to them to prove it. That 60-minute comment is bollocks. We played Morgan Gibbs White, Anderson, Murillo, Milenkovic, and Ortega. Oh, are you a Forest fan? I'm guessing, Graham, you're a Forest fan. That's interesting. So are you concerned that maybe your players will be short on legs if after 120 minutes, after the 120 minutes you played on Thursday night, that will have an impact? Let me know. Do you think so? I was thinking that's really good. Igor Tudor is understanding the Premier League and the players, but obviously not. But I don't follow Forest. I didn't watch the game, so I didn't follow it close enough to know who went on and off the pitch last night. Although I do know Penn's 3-0. Just hoping this game doesn't put me in hospital like the midweek game. Been a crazy few days. It has indeed. I hope you stay out of hospital as well. Since when did Gallagher have asthma? He hasn't missed a game in his career for any other club. That was news that was reported in the press conference before the Liverpool game, I believe. That's where I got it from, direct from the horse's mouth, just in case anyone wants to fact check that. But yeah, Igor Tudor said that he had asthmatic problems. Whether he meant asthma or asthmatic problems, I don't know. But as I said, it is hay fever season, and sometimes it can be triggered by these types of things. And look, it doesn't have to look, there's many people who are famous professional sports people, not just footballers, who play even though they have asthma. So it's not beyond the realms of possibility, particularly if he's moved country and maybe this is his first season back in the UK with the tree pollen and playing on the grass. I don't know. I'm not making excuses. Right? It is a reality, right? That does happen. It's not beyond the realms of possibility, but that came from Igor Tudor ahead of the Liverpool game. And obviously Gallagher didn't play that game because he said he had a virus, but he said he had asthma and it was triggered by some kind of virus. So, but I was just speculating because I had, runny nose and all the rest of it because of hay fever over the last few weeks, which has set in now. Richard, have you just checked the MK Dons? You've just checked it. Oh, I thought you said always so many. I thought you meant there are now. Yeah, but this is an international game with Sonny, isn't it? So you would expect with Sonny that they all buy the seats. Nice long weekend off. I don't know. Do we have a nice long weekend? Is it bank holiday? Have I missed something? Hi, Super Sarah. Hair up today. Yeah, thanks. Someone in the comments told me that they're worried about my mental health and I was going really grey. So thank you for that comment, whoever pointed out that I got increasingly grey. I don't think I have. I think it's just the lighting. I think the other day I just did the lighting. But yeah, I am going a bit grey, but not much I can do about that. I'm allergic to hair dye, so I'm going to go au naturel. Oh dear. I guess with women it's like graying hair and with men it's losing hair. So it's always one thing, isn't it? But anyway. Williams, Aina and Sangari was also played after 60 minutes. Yeah, but yeah, so maybe we will have more legs. Good evening, Mark. Good evening. Welcome along. Hopefully City win the Carabao Cup this weekend to give them a boost in the title race as well. I think the title race is done, guys. I honestly, I don't want to say it, but I think the title race is done. If I'm honest, if I'm a realist, title race is gone. I just think that no one is competing for it. No one is competing for it. City have dropped off. And I just think that as much as I don't like the way that Arsenal play, they are playing the best in the league. Like, that's just a fact. They are, unfortunately for us, but it is what it is. Look, they're bound to win it at some time. So the question is, are they going to win the double, the treble, or the quadruple? And one of those opportunities is this weekend. And then obviously City have to play Liverpool. Is it the quarters of the cup as well? I think they might have to play as well. So, and I think Arsenal have Southampton. So they're in for a running. They can get to all the finals. And look, as much as it's about the trophy, it's also about the money from all of these competitions. If you get to the final of 3 cups and you win the Premier League, that is big money. So when people say Arsenal have been spending loads of money and building their team, well, we finished 17th. So there's not a lot of money in finishing 17th, is there? You know? So that's how you build. That's why Champions League money is so important. You know, they probably got 100 million just for getting through to the next round in the Champions League. Anyway, I've got the voodoo doll ready for the pins for the final. Yeah, maybe I should ask my pendulum, my lucky pendulum. Look, my lucky pendulum said we go through the Champions League. It was wrong, but it also said we weren't going to go down. So let's hope it's right on that one. I want LA to win the Champions League. LA. LA. Who's LA? Have I missed something? LA. You mean Sporting? Don't know. Who's LA? Have I missed something? Anyway. How many empty seats will be at the stadium? I think it will be a relatively full house this weekend, if I'm honest. I think it will be a relatively full house. I think that a lot of people have bought tickets. There is a lot riding on this game. If this was not a situation where this was a 6-pointer, if we were sitting 15th, 14th, people wouldn't go. But you're in a relegation battle, and so people want to go and watch it. And so I think it will be quite a full stadium this weekend, in my opinion. But look, I'll let you know. I'll do the match day vlog, and you guys will see it. Thanks for all the love and support on the match day vlog from the Atleti game, by the way. Quite a good one to see. I'd happily give 3 points to the Blue Scum if it meant never having to go there again. Yeah, I agree. But we're not playing City. We've already played them. My lineup: Vicario, Porro, Danso, Romero, Van der Ven, Gray, Paulinho, Sartel, Solanke, Richarlison. So you have... who have you taken out? Is that one player too many? Gray, Paulinho, Sarr, Tell. I think that's one player too many. Is that one player too many? Yeah, that's one player too many. You need to take someone out, EDM. Although, if you want to play 12, is that 13? I don't know. I think it'll be 2-0. I said since Christmas that Forest will go. Well, I hope you're right, Broadbean. I hope you're right. Spurs have had by far the most injuries of any club in the Premier League this season. Yeah, look, and last season as well. And it's not just the number of injuries, it's the length of the injuries, because they've been long-term injuries, not just short-term injuries. So that plays a part as well, because it's not just a case of like one player missing 1 or 2 games. These players are literally missing 6 months or more. You know, Bergvall was a funny one because he was out and then he came back, then he got concussion, then he got an injury, then he went back out again. Paulinho and Kulusevski been out a year. I don't know if Kulusevski comes back. He didn't even mention Kulusevski in his press conference, but he did mention Maddison training. I've heard that it's really worrying about Kulusevski, and we haven't heard any progress on it. So I would say that it is a very worrying situation for Kulusevski. But in the main, yeah, it's not just about having injuries, it's about the type of injuries and the length of the injuries. Tudor got a bit of a tune. We can say yes once we see if we keep bullying against Forest. Yeah, look, we need to keep the belief going. As the title of this live is, it has to mean something. It has to mean something this weekend. Would you keep Tudor for next season if we won all the remaining games? I don't know, Richard. I'll let you know at the end of the season. I'll let you know at the end of the season. I don't think we win every single game. But look, if you can beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, hell, keep him. Because I don't think that happens realistically. I don't think you beat Chelsea at the Bridge. But then Chelsea have had a drop-off. And I mean, they're just going to buy loads of players this summer, and then they're just be suspended on buying players. Oh, sport is just crazy. Yeah. We need to play the full duration of games, even in the 96 or 100 minutes. That's how long the games are. Yep. So which game was it? We had like 15 minutes of extra time, I calculated, because I did the match day vlog, and the first half was like 5 minutes extra time, and the second half was 10 minutes. I think it was Arsenal. We had like 15 minutes extra. It was like a 105-minute game. It's crazy now. But that is why you need squad depth. With the number of games Premier League teams play just domestically, do you think it's time they expanded the squad rules in the Premier League in Europe? 23 and all the home rule and squad train seems tough. Yeah, they definitely need to expand it. Definitely. For me personally, but I'm not a player, but a lot of players say that. And of course, the players want to start. So for the players to come out and go, we need bigger squads to help us, you know, because the game's changed. They're playing with higher intensity now. They're playing with more physicality now. And so it requires a different type of strength to maybe what's previously been in the Premier League in the past. But look, next year, the strategy could change. Next year, the Premier League can completely change, and it won't be a season of set pieces, because people will see that teams this year have been really defensive, and so they might change their style. That's the Premier League. It just football changes. But I think it is very revealing as well that a lot of teams, English teams, went out the Champions League this round. So City, Chelsea and us, well, you know, whatever. But we all went out the Champions League, and it's only Liverpool and Arsenal that have survived. And I think that's reflective of the level of the Premier League this year in general, if I'm completely honest. Newcastle went out as well, didn't they? Yeah. How could I forget Newcastle going out? If the dog is fit enough, I'd start him, but he won't be. I agree. The other option is that you start him. He plays the first half, and then you bring on Sousa after, or you move Spence to the left-hand side. I think that's a possibility, because you want to get an early goal. And the thing about Udogie is he's very good at creating opportunities. For me, I love Udogie when he's fit. When he definitely wasn't fully fit the other night. You could see he's a bit rusty. He needs to get his fitness back up. Danso has to start to mark that lurch, Milenkovic on set pieces. And Danso has the long throw. So you've got to think as well, Danso, Dragusin and Bergvall are our long throwers. So when you think about set pieces, you've got to, if you want a set piece long throw in the game, not that we ever score from them or do anything with our long throws, not that they've come to anything ever, but Sunday could be the day where Danso does his first long throw and we get a goal from it. Who knows? But yeah, I think you need probably one of those three on the pitch if you want to include that in your game. Good morning, California. Welcome. Good morning. It is 6 o'clock in the evening here. Friday drive time. Need to keep Igor Tudor no matter what. Otherwise, it's just repeating the same circus again and again, but only till the end of the season. Then I try and get Eddie Howe, seeing as Man U buying their players. I don't know about Eddie Howe. I don't know. I think the only manager realistically that gets everyone united again is Poch. I think it was very revealing that Poch was watching the first leg in Spain, but let's see what happens this summer. Let's see what happens this summer with the World Cup, because players, they show themselves. There are so much talent. There is so much talent worldwide. You know, it's going to be such an interesting World Cup. You know, Norway getting through, like, it's just crazy. Sky said Solanke would be fit to play. That's because Igor Tudor said it. but that doesn't mean he's fit to start. Fit to play does not necessarily mean fit to start. So it could be Moani starts and he comes on later. Of course, we also know that Richie cannot play a full 90 minutes, and he can't really play a full back-to-back 90 minutes, let alone 3 in a week. So, well, he was suspended for Liverpool. He was suspended last game, but he played 90 minutes last weekend. So hopefully he's up to full match fitness now and he can give us a full 90 minutes. But there is the possibility that he keeps Tel back and starts Xavi. And then if he's going to do 2 up top, he brings on Tel as a second striker next to Solanke, maybe. But I think either way you play it, he's going to need rotation up top because none of our strikers are incredibly fit enough. They're great strikers when they're fully fit, but we've never seen them fully fit. It's not a terrible team. Yeah. Well, it's not a world-beating team, but it's also down to confidence and various other things. Yep, I've heard this as well, Andy. Reports that Kudus and Bentancur will be available after the international break. Look, if you have enough rotation, Bentancur, if you've got Sarr, Gray, Bissouma, Paulinho, and Gallagher, that's 5 in your midfield. So Bentancur is not as urgent for us as Kudus. Kudus is probably the one who's probably more of an urgent return. But in this formation, I don't even know what position Kudus plays. If you do a 2-1, maybe he plays behind the striker on the right-hand side rather than as a winger if he does a 3-4. But let's see what happens. We can only hope. That's all we can hope for. Yeah, no yellow cards, no red cards. Everything needs to fall our way. Look, after Igor Tudor got the fine, after he got the fine for throwing his toys out the pram, you know, maybe the Prem and the refs are listening. Who knows? I ended up going back on the chat. Am I going through ones I've already done? There you go. David Beckham has asthma, and so does my son. Yeah, it's something that you can overcome. Actually, it's something that you can overcome. But yeah, it's really common. I think people get surprised because they expect, the things to be not mutually exclusive. But like, you can have asthma and still be a professional footballer. Like, yeah. But as I said, that was just something that Igor Tudor said. Like, I'm not going around saying that. I'm not going around saying that, spreading rumours that Archie Gray has asthma, or not Archie Gray, Gallagher has asthma or something like that. That's literally what he said. Unless he meant it in translation, something else, right? Yeah, guys, get in your score predictions because I can see some of you already putting in your score predictions. We're going to show Gibbs White why he should have come to play in our white shirt. Yeah, I mean, he would have probably said that. He probably would have said that in the first leg, wouldn't he? Tottenham are rubbish. Well, Brandon, just you wait and see. We'll pin that one for Sunday night. I hope. I hope we pin that one for Sunday night and we can circle back to it and go, no, Forest are rubbish. But to be honest with you, I think we're 2 poor teams. That's the truth. We are 2 poor teams. You can't say that Tottenham are world beaters, and you most certainly can't say that Forest are. So I think we're just 2 poor teams, probably having a bad moment. But with our injury crisis, maybe you could say that we're performing slightly worse than we would be if we had our full fit squad and we were able to rotate. Systemic Frog, you're here. Welcome in. You're saying Kinski or Vicario, Van der Ven, Romero, Danso, Sousa. Oh, you started Sousa. Yeah, okay. Well, we forgot that Udogie was fit, but Bergvall, Gray, Spence, Tell, Xavi, Solanke. So is that just like the whole, on the bench? I was going to say, you just put the whole squad into the team today. Yeah, I don't think you can do that. If you just named everyone. Named everyone, we will have a strong bench for this game, or not a strong bench. We will have one of the strongest benches we've had pretty much all season. Yeah, Dominic, that's what I just said. Yes, we are rubbish, and Forest are still below us. Yeah. Look, even if we draw, they're still going to be behind us. I'm not sure who West Ham has this weekend. West Ham have... Oh, West Ham are playing Villa. West Ham are playing Villa, and that's a very even game. Normally. Tottenham fans getting trigger happy because they got 1-1 versus a shit Liverpool team. Yeah, look, I mean, this is what I said before, Brandon. I don't know if you heard me say it, but I think this is the thing. A lot of teams come to us now thinking that we are going to be pushovers. And because of that expectation, sometimes it's a mentality thing because our players will be up for it. And that is going to be the difference. They will fight for this. Problem is, as I said, we just need to stop conceding goals. And Liverpool can't be that bad because they beat Galatasaray and they're still fifth. So we're fifth. So as much as they might have had an off day, you know, they're still picking up points. So they're still fighting for Champions League football next year. Right. And look, it's very easy to say a team doesn't play well when a crap team goes to them and manages to get a point. You know, no one's going to be like, oh, Spurs played really well, are they? No, it wasn't a particularly great game, but that's a reflection on the Premier League as a whole. Like, we've literally said this about every team in every game this year. Like, is there one game this year where everyone's been like, wow, this was a worldy goal, it's been amazing, like from start to finish? I don't know. I can't think of a game where that's been the case. Like, every team this year has played a bit more conservatively. Like, there's just been a lot more set piece goals. There's been a lot more draws than there typically has in a season, you know, and that's because it's more competitive, you know. Brentford's, Fulham's, they're all competing now. Everton, they're all competing. So, you know, people can say that about Liverpool, but yeah, they're still in the next round of the Cup. They're still in the next round of the Champions League. They go to Brighton this weekend. Maybe they can do something at Brighton. And then everyone will be like, oh, Brighton did crap. Anyway. All the best people have grey hair. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I've kind of accepted it now. It's been a slow process for the past 5 years, to be honest. So I'm surprised I've held out this long. Surprised I've held out this long. Our Forest game feels like ages away. Oh, it will come around soon enough. The Sunderland game feels ages away. The Sunderland game feels ages away. Because after we play Forest, I'm going to need to think about some new content. So let me know maybe on the community tab what you want me to go through. Obviously on the 31st, if it's announced, then I will go through the financial stuff because it's end of tax year. Reminder again, end of tax year. Open your eyes if you're in the UK. And put in before the tax year, obviously. But the next game for us will be April the 12th because we've got no cups. April the 12th, we're going to have like 3 weeks of just like no games. So I'm going to need to find something to waffle about. Going to need to find something to waffle about. Otherwise, YouTube will get pissed off with me. Yeah. They're all letting Arsenal win the title. Oh, I said an hour ago. Sorry. We've gone through a lot, but yes, an hour ago I said that I wanted Bayern to win the Champions League, so I put LA. Well, they're not in the Champions League, but yeah, maybe they can win like I don't know, the America Cup or something. Just thinking, it's pointless meeting the coach if the stadium is not full. No, it will be a full. Look, it might not be 60,000, but it will be at least 50, 55. You know, on the lowest turnout, I did some research into this. I did some digging. I think the lowest turnout we ever had was like 42,000. And that was for, and that's not excluding COVID, because in COVID we had less than that. But in a non-COVID year, the lowest we had was like, I think it was about 42,000. And I think that was for a Conference League game. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I did look into it. And so even when people say protest, don't turn up, do a walkout, all of this stuff, you always get people go to a game. Like, it's so rare for us to get less than 40,000. I just can't see. I haven't seen us have less than 40,000 in the stadium. And for a Premier League game, I think we never get less than 40. I think the lowest was like 49 or 50,000. So we don't really get less than 50,000, less than that for a Premier League game. Like, even if you're still 12,000 short, like you're still filling the stadium pretty much. You know, I haven't actually checked, but I would imagine that people have sold the tickets. So, like, even this weekend, my dad's not going. They've all got a wedding, and he managed to sell the ticket. So people are still buying tickets. Yeah, there you go. Just as I said that, I just seen your comment, Rain. Yeah, the season ticket holders. Yeah, they've sold because it's gone to general sale. Exactly. Yeah, because there's a lot riding on this. See, the SOS campaign. Well done, guys. Well done. Appreciate you all. Appreciate all the love. Do like, subscribe, comment, share, hype the video, all of that jazz, because it helps. And you guys can be proud of yourselves that you also had impact. Anyone here that sent an email, if you were one of the 300 people that sent an email, you want to become one of those people and you want to send the email, it's still up there for the next, I can't think which direction it is, but it's still going to be out there for another. I need to keep tabs on when that's going to be, when it does expire. But yeah, it's been up 7 days now. So I think that's a great effort. So you should all be really, really proud of yourselves. This is the power of community, right? I love it. Love it. Love to see it. If you can go. It'd be shameful to sit it out. It does prove a turning point in the league and we stay up. Yeah. Oh, thanks for the love. Thanks. Yeah, the vlogs. I would love to come home and do the vlogs on the same evening because the Forest game, because the Forest game is an earlier one, I might be able to come back and do a match reaction after that. I probably won't go live because I'm a bit exhausted after, but I will probably do maybe a match reaction and then I can edit the match day vlog. It takes me about 3 hours to edit the vlog, but it's not the editing of the vlog, it's the upload. It takes so long because it's such a big file. It's a 5 gig file, and that Atletico vlog, it took like 2 hours to upload to YouTube, and my internet is quite fast, so it's a YouTube thing that it just takes ages to upload. So that's why, otherwise I would have scheduled it for 8 o'clock in the morning so everyone can, well, 6 o'clock whenever you wake up, so that everyone could have watched it. But unfortunately it took a bit longer for it to upload. So, 12 o'clock at night, I wasn't going to wait up 2 hours for it to like load and then process the schedule for the morning. But I try my best. 12-man loophole. Yeah. Yeah. Can we play 2 keepers? I don't know. Yeah, could, isn't he? Yeah, it was. Oh dear. Arsenal fan here. Ooh, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? Yeah. I think you'll stay up and go clear in the next 4 games. Forest and West Ham fixtures are much harder than yours. I hope you're right, even if you don't really mean it. I still don't want you to win the league, but it's going to happen. But we don't want it. I won't keep Tudor. He's been brought in to do the job to save us. Yeah, well, if he beats Chelsea are, I saw this. Chelsea are playing that they'll send us down. Oh, they're Chelsea. Chelsea are such losers, honestly. Such losers. It's funny because like even Arsenal are like, yeah, we want the London derby. Obviously, you have haters that want you to go down. It's very mixed. But Chelsea, this is why we hate Chelsea as well. We hate Chelsea as well. They're just as bad. All London clubs. They're all just as bad as each other. Probably the tamest of them all is probably Fulham, but they took points off of us. So we hate them too. West Ham, Fulham, Chelsea, Arsenal, the lot of them all beating us. All next year, you just wait. We're going to have if we stay up, we're having a resurgence next year. If we stay up, we will have a resurgence. Because ENIC are going to have to prove themselves and they're going to have to get in the right guy. They're going to have to back the manager. They're going to have to get rid of a lot of dross and they're going to have to buy a lot more players and they're going to have to create a system that works and a structure. And so we just have to hope that this is a lot of transition and a lot of change that's happened over 12 months and they're still bedding in. Or we stay up and they go, right, we've been scared now and now is the opportunity that we have to sell this club. So either way, I think it's a good thing. But if they are going for the takeover, it is going to take a while to do. As I said, when I first started this channel, those takeovers, they can take years. They can take years. And if you want to look at an example, look at what's happening with as I said last time, the Wasserman agency that's just been rebranded before it gets taken over. It's not going to be another 6 months before that happens. It still takes ages, literally ages. They're lawyers, and it's just so complicated. So complicated. Joe will have to get his wallet out. Yeah, well, we don't know too much about Joe Lewis. We don't know too much about him. The guy's 89 years old. He's on 1 year of probation left. He's not in good health. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with Joe Lewis? We don't know how much life he's got left in him, like he's not involved at all. He is not involved. The decision making is in the trust. Since 2022, it has been the trust, the Joe Lewis trust, the Lewis family trust, should I say, that has been, operating for Spurs, not Joe Lewis. And there's been all this speculation, like he made the phone call about Frank and blah, blah, blah. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I just think maybe he watches from afar, and maybe he communicates messages through his children and through his in-laws. But I don't think he's as involved as people say he is. He was historically, but for the past 4 years, it has been the Lewis family. So yeah, let's see. There's just so look, I don't know. I did a class the other day. As in, I went to a class, always the master and the teacher and the student at the same time. How you live life. But yeah, there's going to be some real seismic shifts in the next few months, just in terms of the political landscape, the war, everything in the April time is going to be a really heavy time for everyone. That's what we've been told. So I don't know how true that is, whether you believe in that, woo-woo stuff or not. But look, everyone can see it happening. You should have to open your phone and look at the news, and there's just crazy stuff going on. So, selling a club like Spurs would be a seismic shift. A £3 billion enterprise is massive. So we'll have to see what happens. Joe Lewis was heavyweight champion. I don't know. His children are clueless. He'll not be wanting them to assign risk. He'll have others involved. Yeah. But look, that's how structures, that's how these things operate, right? They're going to have advisors. They're going to have people advising them, Look, clearly Chelsea made some really bad decisions, and it's coming to bite them back in the arse. These things always come back around, unless you're Man City. They always come back around unless you're Man City. But don't worry, guys. They will get their karma. It's coming. They will. It's just going to take more time. I think the whole Man City thing is at least a year away, but yeah. Millwall hate Everton. Sure. There were rumours that Joe called Daniel Levy to remove him from the chairmanship, and Vivian made a call to her dad before pulling the plug on Frank. Doesn't sound on it. Yeah, but these are all rumours. Did you hear Joe Lewis say that? Did he tell you that he said that? No? Or is it his PR team making everyone believe that he's still acting as the club so that no one else gets blamed? Is he the cover for someone else? Look, unless you hear something from the horse's mouth, from Igor Tudor in a press conference, stuff is put out into the papers to make people believe it. Because look, if they said, oh, Vivian made the decision, well, who would we all turn against? If they said Vivian hired Frank and not Levy, because look, Daniel Levy hired Frank, but he was also the scapegoat because they knew that they were going to fire Levy. They knew they were going to fire Levy, but they still stuck his name on the headlines along with Vinay. They threw them under the bus. This is how the PR system works. It's such a you don't know what's true and what's not true until it's an official statement, is what I'm trying to say, I don't know whether this is true or not. But if you're Joe Levy and you're 89 years old, you're on probation, you're not well, is he really going to be phoning up going, hey, mate, can you just sack him? They'll be like, well, who should we put in charge? And he'll be like, I don't know, you sort it out. So then they've got to put a plan in place. So even if it is true, there's only limited involvement that they can actually have. Viv Lewis. Yeah, so you've got Viv Lewis, you've got Nick, who is the grandson-in-law. So Nick and Vivian are the two most involved. And we call them children, but I'm pretty sure Vivian Lewis is in her 60s, I think. Yeah. Sorry. I'm not talking about Vivian Westwood. Yeah. But look, they're getting a lot of hate as well because people were shouting at the directors' boxes, apparently, in the last few games, but I didn't see that. So I'll see if I'll have a look if I can see if I can film it. It'll be interesting to know if Lange and Vinay are going to be there. They've been so quiet. Do you guys not think it's suspect that Vinay and Lange have been so quiet? I mean, I know the transfer window is not open, but normally, look, there's so many rumours going around about United being linked to loads of players and Chelsea being linked to loads of players. But Spurs, it's just about being players leaving. And then all the news came out that a lot of the players came out and said they wanted to stay. And that makes me think that there has been an embargo. That makes me think there's been an embargo on any links to teams, to players that were either letting go of or hiring. So it's really common to have embargoes, like really common to have embargoes in football. Like so easy. They just pay, like, you just go to the Daily Mail and you say, right, you can't publicize anything about so-and-so leaving or this. Like we saw it with Udogie. When Udogie was held at gunpoint, that got released. Within minutes, it got taken down. Within minutes. Like that's how this stuff works, It's a very like incestuous sort of I don't know, industry. That's the word I'm saying. Anyway, guys, we've gone off topic. So this weekend, my match prediction is 2-1 to Tottenham Hotspur at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That is going to be my prediction, 2-1 to Spurs. I think we have it in us to win. I don't think we have it in us not to concede a goal. And I am thinking that Kinski will probably start. And so it's most likely that we will concede. However, I hope we come away from 2-0. If there's any news circulating tomorrow, I will do a quick video for you guys. I'm learning that the shorter videos you guys kind of like a little bit more. So sort of maybe like the 10 to 15 minute videos rather than the 15 to 20 minute ones. So I'll try and not as waffle as much as I have been. But anyway, right, I'm off for dinner. So guys, have a wonderful Friday evening, or for those of you in California or joining wherever you're joining today, enjoy the rest of your day. Let's hope that this weekend is going to be a win. I filmed the vlog, if anyone's wondering whether to get the new Samsung Ultra 26. I don't know if anyone is or not, but just to let you know that match day vlog was filmed on that phone. So if you're interested in how it records and things, I don't think the microphone's great. I think the video is much better than my old phone, which was an S21. So it's like 5 years old. But the microphone, I didn't really like it. So I'm still getting used to it, but it was a lot more stable. So if anyone's just curious how it films, there you go. You can go and watch that. But otherwise, guys, have a wonderful Saturday afternoon. Enjoy the sunshine. Hopefully it's sunny tomorrow, and I will see you all. Yes, we love the Spurs. We love all these wins. So guys, I'll see you all maybe tomorrow, but otherwise I will try and do the match day debrief or instant reaction on Sunday for you all, and hopefully it's a positive one and we can kick on and take those 6 points and start working our way up the league. Have a lovely afternoon, evening, day to day, guys, and I'll see you all very soon in the next video. Bye for now.